Fast, affordable restoration kind of came about from our parent company, which does maintenance, but at a certain point we realized that while doing maintenance, we could also really help facilitate property managers with the restoration side as well. So we kind of started doing both, where we could help you with your small maintenance needs, but we could also help you with your big needs as well. So with that being said, we're actually fully licensed, so we can do everything from we call flood to finish, and everything in between maintenance as well. The stuff we usually deal with, it's something that most people go through maybe once in a lifetime in terms of a big flood at their house or something like that. And so what keeps me here is I enjoy helping people get through that, because dealing with insurance, dealing with the rebuild, dealing with, the water damage, whatever it may be, it's a unique, like I said, kind of once in a lifetime experience. And so I enjoy being able to help people walk through that and make sure that they go through it as smoothly as possible. All mitigation companies basically do the same three things. It's smoke, mold, and water. The main thing that we try and focus in is dry in place. So typically when you have a clean water damage, which is something from a water line or a sink overflow, something like that, what we'll do is we'll go in and try and dry that completely in place. So we won't rip up your floors, we won't rip up the cabinets, we won't open up the drywall. We'll do our best to keep everything just as it sits, but we'll use specialized mats, specialized air movers that shoot air into the walls or under the cabinets, and basically nothing gets moved or demoed, we just dry it as it sits. So that's something pretty unique to us that not a lot of companies are doing. I think some of the bigger pitfalls are tenants not telling the owners that they have issues like these. Problems with that is, a simple job that could be dried out in 1 or 2 days, because it's a simple sink overflow, now turns into a month-long mold job because they didn't really know what to do about it or they didn't deal with it, and now that mold and damage is everywhere. So I think just having tenants not really being aware and making small issues turn into big issues is probably a bigger one. So typically I'll get a phone call or an email, depends on the client, and then from there I'll try and kind of narrow down what's the main issue. Is it mold, is it smoke, is it water? And then from there I'll try and determine kind of the urgency or emergency of it. Typically we'll get clients on the phone and ask the leading question, are you standing in water? Because that's the main thing that's going to set the difference between, do I need to get someone out there in the next 5 minutes, or can I send someone tomorrow, or can I send someone end of day? So that's where it really starts is, are you standing in water, or are you, do you see a little bit of black mold in the corner? Both big issues, but one has to be dealt with today, one can be dealt with tomorrow. From there, I'll contact one of my technicians and figure out how soon I can get them there. And then we kind of go from there. We see what they find, and then we relay that to our client. And from there, the client kind of makes the call whether they want to hire us or schedule it for another day. So it's really hard to prepare for the damage that's going to come from a water mitigation loss. There's not really a way to avoid it. But I guess the best way is to be, one, either be prepared for it, have my number close would be my top recommendation. But aside from that, educate your tenants, if you're not the one living there, about signs to look for and such, so that way small issues stay small issues. The other thing too is just, make sure they're having regular safety inspections in that home, so that they're, it's getting eyes on site to make sure that if there is any small issues, it's fixed quickly. If there's small moisture, it's dried out quickly, and a pinhole leak is an easy fix versus a burst pipe. So just keeping close eyes on your property and being ready to make that call quick. Best way to get a hold of us is just call our 24-hour line. We're there to answer it at any time. It'll usually come to me, and I'll help walk you through the next best steps. If it is one of those things where you're standing in water, be ready to pull the trigger so that we can get this dried out sooner than later, and it can be, like I said, a simple dry in place job versus a big water disaster that turns into mold or other things.